So, Manny.
So we talked in Colorado. It's always a puzzle to get your top performers on the field at the same time. Has there been any discussion or consideration around ways to get Gozo and Dominic on at the same time, either with one of them flipping to the left as one of your tens, or pairing Dom at right back with a more stay-at-home left back, so that he can bomb forward the way that we usually see Kapronis do?
Yeah, we've turned this whole thing upside down, and I think I think at the moment, I do feel we're close, and the reason why I keep saying that is because what we spent the last year and a half doing is getting to the point where we can almost on autopilot get to the final third. And so our build-out phase has been something that we've been killing for the last year and a half, and I feel like we are so proficient in that. And so the sheet is so long, and so with any of these changes, you have to be willing to give something to get something. And so the same pictures that you see with the shape that we have currently, we might improve in one facet, but we're going to have to take something away from that. And so I think with like all these different permutations that you're speaking about with Dom maybe playing as a left wing back, that's also going to require him to play as a left back in the current system. And so what I want to see is someone break through with a performance that is so worthy of changing everything for. If not, then you're trying to help one at the expense of the 10 or 11, the understanding of the way we want to play. And so obviously some of those things will come with a change of shape, and I again, just watching teams going through this in real time. LA Galaxy, they changed to a back five for this game against New York, and they got an unfavorable result. But with that, you lose a little bit of confidence because then you don't know which way you're going to move going forward. And so I want to definitely, I want to continue on the path that we're doing, adjusting players, maybe roles within those, without drastically changing what we're doing so as to not lose pace of, not losing sight of what we really need, which is that final third. And there's a million ways to skin that. And so we're going to look at different players in the different positions to be able to extrapolate hopefully some different attacking qualities. But all those things are on the table. It's just when and how much is it going to affect what we've been building for the last year and a half.
And with Johnny, we're used to seeing him, in Kansas City playing in the left side. Last or Saturday, it seemed like he was more central. Is that a one-off, or is that somewhere you're thinking of seeing him?
No, well, I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it's the one position where his defensive responsibilities weren't going to be so great that he can focus in on the attacking piece. And so just kind of easing him in and giving him a role that is more in and around goal, as opposed to having to track all the way back to our back line, given where he's at from a physical perspective.
Makes a ton of sense. Thank you. And then last one, Gozo and Agala are the players that seem, from our perspective, to bring real pace and movement as far as running those channels, but also getting behind the defense. What are some of the ways that the staff is looking to leverage those abilities to get?
Yeah, so that's a great question. This even today was the start of the week, and I put up 4 bullet points for our action plan for the week, and one of them is getting behind the defenses, right? And there's a number of ways of doing that. I think one of the things is giving Diego the freedom to get on the ball also comes with a consequence, which is oftentimes he floats off to our left side, which then Gozo doesn't have a combination to get him behind when he receives it. His only thing is to go 1v1, right? And so, again, it's this moving slide as to what are you willing to get to give. But I think, today we work positionally, and when we have 10s in those pockets, our wing backs will have options to bounce off of to get in behind. And then Willie's more thinking, I'm going to get on the highest line. When we get the ball in the wide positions, get to the highest line and make sure that there's not a ball that ever goes across the defense without him getting his foot on it, right? Higher up the field, we're looking for Willie to get in behind. Closer to goal, we want him to get as close to the back line and really making darting runs for good delivery and good crosses. So I think, this week we'll really spend a lot of time on all those things. And today was a very good first day in the direction that we want to move in.
Last one, if you're willing, can you tell us what some of those other bullet points are?
Yes. Substitutions having more of an impact coming into games, right? And And again, it's easy for me to say, hey, we need you to score a goal or assist. I think that would be the ideal. But what I want to see is a presence, right? And that can come in all different, depending on who you are and what position you're coming into, the game state. There's got to be a presence to where your teammates feel inspired, your opponents feel threatened, and you can do that a bunch of different ways. It could be physical, it could be technical, it could be tactically getting in good spots and making plays. So just a real presence from our substitutions, which we haven't had this year, I feel like. The third bullet point would be a clean sheet mentality. And what I mean by that is when we're defending close to our goal, the goal that we conceded, right? So we control large portions of that game away from home, which is something that we should be really proud of. But then to give up a goal the way we did because we were now playing in our penalty area and we trapped the ball instead of understanding that this is a danger zone. And now we let our opponents into the game, and then we lose 3 points from that. And the fourth one was set pieces, right? We're the only team that has not scored an attacking set piece, right? So we're going to spend time this week, be deliberate in how much time we spend this week on attacking set pieces. And the one thing with the teams that are at the top of the table versus the teams that are at the bottom of the table is their set piece differences, offensive versus defensive. So those 4 bullet points I feel like can move us in the right direction, along with all the other stuff that we've been doing that's been pretty good. So, but I think those are 4 key points that we can look at objectively, work on, and make a difference for this weekend.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask you about Xavier Gozo. It's really cool to watch the brief moments out there with you guys talking and you telling him to do something, and then he does exactly that, and you're going, yeah, okay, like you're catching on, and he's 18 years old. So what's it like coaching him at his age where he also is able to execute what you're telling him?
Yeah, it's a ton of fun, and I think the one thing with Gozo is even though he's nowhere near the final product that he will become, he's a willing learner. And oftentimes I think when you have young players come into the first team, they think they've already made it. And I think the most important part is the character of the young man that's willing to continue learning. And so for me, I just get great joy with guys that are willing to listen, take a little bit of the experience that myself and the coaching staff have had in the game, and for them to apply it in real time and go, and you know, it's not always, you don't always get it, right? You can always give a bit of advice and it doesn't come off. But when it does come off, there's a motivation to continue listening, right?
Yeah.
So he's been great. I can't say enough about Gozo and the way he's impacted games in his way. And I think to what Maddie said, I think we have to find him in positions where we can get him in behind the defense more often, and then it's really executing the technique that we were working on today.
And when I talked to him about playing for you, he said that this was like relationship where it's like, hey, are you good? And he's like, I'm good. And then you trust him to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that important to you to allow the players to kind of make those decisions themselves at certain points?
Yeah, no, I think people behave the way you treat them. You know, I think if you treat people like children, they'll start throwing their toys everywhere. And I believe if you treat them like men that they are, they'll learn, especially having guidance in the locker room with guys like Rafa, guys like Emeka, guys like Justin Glad that carry themselves in a certain way. They'll begin to look to them as the behaviors that are okay, that are positive, that will, you know, affect themselves individually. So for me, Gozo, you know, I don't ask too much. The one thing I always talk about is your maximum effort is a mandatory minimum. Maximum effort. And I think you see in the minutes that Gozo plays, you know, he doesn't make mistakes from a lack of effort, that's for sure. And I feel like that's always the breeding ground to build upon. And I think you can look back to Luna when he first got here. He was hesitant to work defensively for the team. He's a really one-sided player. He's now doubled down on his work, become our best defender from the front, scores all the goals for our team. And so it's just a beautiful place from a coaching perspective to have players that are willing to work really hard for the team, work really hard for themselves, and then, again, they end up making the difference in their lives. No one else does.
My final one for you about Gozo, just on the pitch. What do you see from him? What is he best at? What does he bring you to your team at the level that he's currently at?
Yeah, again, I think his ability to get in behind defenses is something that will continue to hurt opponents. I think his industry on both sides of the ball, making runs for his teammates, but also defensively closing down and making making it so that we're winning the balls quicker so we can continue with our attack. So I think in these last string of games, we've had a lot of the ball, and a lot of that comes down to the selfless work that guys like Gozo and Luna do for the team. And that's really important, and that's often not looked at because it's not sexy, it's not cool, but it's really, really important to the underpinnings of this group.
Key. Thank you.
Absolutely, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
More in Spanish. Carlos?
Pablo, tengo una duda y una curiosidad. Es decir, ¿qué análisis haces ya 2 días después sobre los cambios que hiciste en el partido en Colorado? ¿O ves que estabas acertado, que cometiste un error o que ves que... Es decir, ¿qué análisis haces de eso?
Sí, yo creo que siempre va a ser difícil jugando 3 partidos porque hay tema física y también hay un partido de frente, o sea, el partido que estoy mirando. Yo creo que después de ver el partido, a lo mejor tenía que dejar el Luna en la cancha otros 15 minutos más, pero yo creo que me pasó lo mismo en el partido anterior en casa, necesitamos el resultado en casa y lo dejé y los últimos 15 minutos no estaba funcionando a el nivel necesario para marcar gol o marcar la diferencia. Yo creo que ese, si lo podía cambiar ese. El Alex lo puse porque tuvimos mucho del balón y no pudimos meter centro porque el Bori juega con la pierna derecha. Pero tampoco no funcionó esa sustitución. Johnny yo creo que hizo 2 jugadas peligrosas y yo sigo con eso. Y el tema de Emeka es que yo quería que Pablo sumaba más minutos porque yo creo que moviendo para adelante es un jugador clave y por eso le puse a Emeka en esa posición para estar listo cuando se gastaba la energía el Pablo, el Emeka ya estaba con minutos. O sea, todos los cambios yo creo que de Luna a mejor lo cambiará.
Lo que es evidente es que hay un problema ofensivo del equipo, ¿no? Yo creo que eso te tiene que preocupar y no es fácil encontrar solución con la plantilla que tiene. Porque maravillas, o sea,
claro,
milagros es difícil.
Milagro es imposible y por eso digo, aunque Luna está cansado y a lo mejor no ha encontrado el partido, toma una jugada de un jugador especial y para nosotros el Luna es el jugador especial y por eso si tuve la oportunidad le dejaba en la cancha a mejor hasta los 90 minutos.
El sábado hubo síntomas como de frustración del equipo. ¿Te preocupa eso?
No.
Que no se dan los resultados.
No, mira, yo creo que todos estamos frustrados. No solamente los jugadores, el cuerpo técnico, lo de arriba, los dueños, todos estamos frustrados. Pero yo creo que identificamos por lo menos una área, la última tercera de la cancha, donde tenemos que seguir pasando 50% de los entrenamientos en ese tema, hasta que lo encontramos. Y si no lo podemos encontrar porque no hay un jugador que lo puede hacer, tenemos que trabajar como un equipo ofensivo, los últimos 5 jugadores que trabajen juntos, que arman relaciones en esa parte de la cancha para hacerlo como un grupo. Porque como si vos, el plantel está un poco, no falta en esa parte de la cancha, pero si trabajamos como un grupo ofensivo de 5, yo creo que podemos aprovechar más oportunidades. Y para mí la frustración es normal. Y el trabajo mío, como dije, tenemos 4 puntos para esta semana que tenemos que sí o sí trabajar. Porque también en los tiros libres, en las pelotas paradas, no hemos marcado ni un gol. Y esos goles no son goles fantásticos, son goles que te mantienen la confianza. Porque es imposible siempre marcar gol de cualquier jugada. Pero tenemos que encontrar una acción, un movimiento y alguien que puede meter el balón en ese parte de la área donde podemos cobrar. Y yo creo que si tenemos por lo menos 4 puntos donde queremos mejorar, el equipo dice, son 4. No son 6, no son 20, no son 40. Estamos haciendo estas cosas muy bien, pero estas 4 cosas sí o sí pueden marcar la diferencia y esos 4 lo vamos a trabajar.
precisamente el mejor para empezar a remontar, ¿no? A cambiar la dinámica, pero es un partido complicado el sábado, ¿no?
Complicado, pero yo creo que es un partido lindo. O sea, porque, como dije, cuando fuimos a Vancouver también tuvimos oportunidades con el balón, tuvimos oportunidades enfrente de gol. No lo marcamos. El partido cambia cuando no marca goles. Yo creo que con un poco de suerte también, porque siento que en todos los primeros partidos no hay ningún momento de suerte para el grupo. Pero si atacamos el partido de la manera que sabemos, si hacemos los cambios ofensivos que queremos hacer y hacemos jugada cuando deberemos hacer, con un poco de suerte creo que este partido puede ser el partido que nos sube para arriba.